All right, let's talk about AI. Chances are it's been on your mind a lot lately, but I want you to think beyond just the code and the algorithms for a second. What does all this mean for your own mind? Today, we're going to dive into that fascinating spot where AI and our own consciousness meet. And we're asking a really important question. Can we actually build technology that makes us more human?
For a lot of us, it feels like we're living with a kind of whiplash when it comes to AI. In one moment, there's this feeling of pure awe. The possibilities are just incredible. But in the next, there's this deep, nagging anxiety about what it all means for our future. It's this powerful paradox, this push and pull, that's really defining our relationship with this new tech. And it's right at the heart of what we're talking about today.
And look, this isn't just some vague feeling. It's real. As event creator Sarah Adams Mar Duma put it, there's a lot of fear in the community. And that makes sense. It's a totally valid concern that AI could somehow water down what makes us uniquely human, or worse, that we could lose control of the very things we're creating. So, this really brings us to the core question, the big one for this explainer. Is this new technology destined to take something fundamental away from us, or is there another path? If we approach it with real intention, could it actually add to our humanity? So how in the world do we navigate this storm of change? Well, according to psychologist and scientist Dr. Shauna Shapiro, the key isn't buried in the technology itself. Nope, it's found right inside our own minds. She says that our anchor in all of this is actually a really ancient practice, mindfulness. Okay, so what exactly is mindfulness? When you boil it all down, it's just the practice of paying attention. That's it. It's about being right here, right now, on purpose. Now that sounds super simple, right? But as we all know, it is definitely not always easy. And here's why it's not so easy. Check out this number. Research from Harvard found that the average human mind is just wandering 47% of the time. That is nearly half of our lives spent on autopilot, not really present for any of it. It kind of suggests that before we can hope to direct AI with any kind of intention, we first have to get better at directing our own attention. To get a handle on our relationship with AI, Dr. Shapiro suggests we look at a piece of tech we're already super familiar with, the smartphone. This is a perfect example of how technology is really just a neutral tool. A phone can totally disconnect us, right? It can interrupt family dinner, pull us away from the people we love. But that exact same device can connect us, build communities, and give us access to, well, all the information in the world. So the big takeaway is its impact is all about how we choose to use it. It's about our intention. All right, let's make this really concrete, because this isn't just theory anymore. It's actually being put into practice. And we're about to get into the story of how it's happening. And it involves someone you would probably least expect to be building an artificial intelligence. This is a quote from Dr. Shauna Shapiro herself. She's a self-proclaimed Luddite who, in her own words, was deeply unsophisticated with technology. So what on earth could possibly lead her from handwriting her calendar to building an AI version of herself? Well, her journey didn't start with lines of code. It started with compassion. She saw this undeniable mental health crisis just exploding all around her. And at the same time, she noticed a really dangerous trend. People were turning to these untrained, random chatbots for therapy. So that sparked an idea. What if an AI could be trained not on the chaos of the internet, but on a carefully curated curriculum of wisdom? And with that vision, she went from intention to action. And we're not just talking about any AI here. The Dr. Shauna AI was trained on this incredibly deep and rich data set. All of her published books, her scientific articles, hundreds of guided meditations, her absolute favorite poems, and, this is the crucial part, decades of her therapeutic expertise. This was never about scraping the internet. It was about instilling wisdom, one piece at a time. And this is where the story gets really wild. Dr. Shapiro discovered that the AI's responses were often, well, better than her own. And think about it for a second. The AI never gets tired. It never has an off day. It has perfect instant recall of every single study, every poem, every therapeutic technique she ever taught it. It could consistently offer the very best of her wisdom 24/7. And this really shines a light on a huge gap in mental health support. People don't just need help during their 1-hour appointment each week, they need it in all those difficult moments in between. This AI was specifically designed to be a supplemental resource, available anytime, anywhere, to offer support right when people feel the most alone.
But of course, when you build something this powerful, it comes with an immense amount of responsibility. You can't just unleash it on the world without some very careful, very deliberate safeguards. And that brings us to the absolutely essential topic of building safe and ethical technology.
So how did they build it responsibly? Well, it all started with setting clear boundaries. The AI's scope was strictly defined, and they made a list of topics that were totally off-limits. For critical issues like suicidality, it was programmed to immediately refer users to real-world help. But maybe the most important part is that it was designed with humility. The AI was actually taught to say, "I don't know," instead of just guessing. I mean, that's a principle of intellectual honesty we could probably all use a little more of.
So when you have these kinds of thoughtful guardrails in place, you can start to imagine a much more hopeful, much more conscious future for technology. A future where our tech is built not just to be smart, but to be wise and compassionate and genuinely helpful.
So what could that future even look like? Well, imagine a trusted AI advisor for leaders who are facing impossible decisions. Or imagine a tool that helps you do a rotation of consciousness. That's the ability to instantly see a problem from all these different perspectives. And at the end of the day, imagine an accessible, universal coach that can help literally anyone practice essential human skills like empathy and self-compassion.
And this brings it all right back to us. This technology is coming whether we're ready or not. It's not inherently good or bad, it's just a tool. The real question is the one we started with, but now it's personal. What is your intention for how you use technology in your life? Because that's the choice that's going to define our future.